What is going on, guys? It's Friday. Cheers, right? It's happy hour time. Another week, a lot of fun stuff going on. So, first and foremost, I'm just going to dive into this stuff. First thing I want to say is again, like I've said in previous videos, my entire goal of doing these is just really if I can just help one business get through this craziness that's going on right now and stay afloat and help one more person keep their job and everybody could just all work together. I think we can do a lot of amazing things together. I'm not a CPA. I'm not an accountant. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not an attorney. I'm not any of those things. I'm not a banker. So whatever I say is just my experiences. Don't rely on anything that I say as being fact and law. I'm just going to share my experiences, and hopefully these experiences can help you. So hopefully you guys are grabbing a drink because it's Friday. We need to have a drink every once in a while. If you don't drink, maybe a Red Bull, or maybe get crazy with some water and throw some lime or lemon in there for you. So with that said, I'm going to share my screen here. Let's talk about the good news. Look at that beautiful face there. That's the face of a man who just signed nearly $500 billion worth of aid to help a lot of different people out. The ones that are important here is the stuff that's going to the SBA. So there's over $300 million that's going toward the PPP, which is the Paycheck Protection Program. And there is $60 billion going to the EIDL, which is the Economic Injury Disaster Loan. I have been fortunate enough to get approval on both of these. So I want to share my experiences with you. And then I want to share some advice moving forward to hopefully help you guys out with it. First and foremost is my timeline. So when the EIDL was first announced or publicized, the EIDL is something that's been around for a long time. Tim Macy drinking a milkshake, Brian Kochi style. So the EIDL is something that's always around. That's not anything that's new for the coronavirus situation. That's something that comes around anytime an area is considered a disaster area. And so being that essentially the entire country is a disaster area right now, you can get that EIDL loan pretty much anywhere. So we originally applied for that back on March 24th. When we originally applied for it, we had to fill out some crazy long application, had to upload a ton of different documents. It took days for my team, which shout out to Lisa and Shasta, because wouldn't be able to get these things done without you girls. They put everything together, packaged it up. I mean, it literally took hours and hours every day trying. The website was crashing all the time. So we finally got it all uploaded on the 24th. And then literally a week later, they were like, hey, that's cool. You spent all that time uploading that stuff. We got a new Streamline application. Go ahead and fill out that Streamline application. And so they released that, I believe, on the 31st. So it was literally a week after we just wasted a ton of time on the initial application. They released the Streamline application. So we got ours filled out on April the 1st. And I have 3 different businesses. So we filled it out. One of them we got in on April the 1st and the other 2 on April the 2nd. And then from that point, just kind of quiet. Didn't really hear a whole lot of any updates. And then lo and behold, I checked my credit. I subscribed to Credit Karma, which keeps an eye on TransUnion and Equifax for me. And then I also subscribed to Experian. And so Experian notified me. I didn't actually catch the first one. So there was one inquiry that was on March 27th. Then there was another inquiry on April 11th. And there was a third inquiry on April the 12th, all from SBA. No call, no email, no text, no Zoom meeting, no nothing. I just got these 3 different credit inquiries that had showed up on my credit. I heard a lot of people state that after they got those inquiries on their credit, that within a few days, they got an advance from SBA. The way that this EIDL loan works is that they will advance you up to $10,000. It's $1,000 per employee, up to $10,000. And so a lot of people had the inquiry show up on their credit report, and then a few days later, they got that advance into their account. Again, anywhere from $1,000 up to $10,000. I've never got that advance. Even to this day, I've never gotten any of those advances. So, but I've gotten my actual loan funds, and never got the advances. Other people got the advance and never got the loan funds. So there's not a lot of rhyme or reason to this. I know other people who filled out their applications the same day, they haven't even had as much as a credit check done. So I don't know exactly how this processing thing is all working. I'm again just sharing my experiences with you. So those came through the 27th. So that was obviously off the initial application we submitted. And then the other two, I have to only assume that those were based on the Streamline application that we submitted on the first and second. So that happened. Then no updates, just kind of sat around and waited for a little while. And then I was actually hanging out with the guys playing some poker Saturday. And take a look at the time on this email. This thing came through at 11:10 p.m. So if you don't think the SBA is working around the clock, they are. So this came in at 11:10 p.m. And it said, hey, log in and create your account, which I did. And then once I did log in and create my account, it said eligible, and it had a dollar amount attached to it. I know there was a graphic that I shared and a lot of other people have shared, and it stated that the maximum loan amount is $15,000 for the EIDL. I can only share my experience that the amount was more than $15,000. So it said eligible, and there were a couple steps on there. One of them was just a identity verification, which is just like the verification you would fill out anytime you're doing a credit check. So it asked like, what street have you lived on before? And you know, those kinds of questions. So I verified my identity, and that was it. There wasn't really anything else to do at that point. And then it just said your application is processing. So then just kind of hung around and waited. Now this is important if you have multiple businesses. It's not super clear, but it'll show your business name up at the top. If you have multiple businesses, click that and you'll actually be able to see all of your businesses on there. So when I did click that, I realized, oh, all three of them were on there. And I had to go into each one by one and do the verification of identity. So then all of them showed application processing. And so again, this was on Saturday, April the 18th. So that was approximately 1 week from the time those inquiries came on there. Again, there was one other inquiry that was from a little while back. So those came through on the 18th. And then on April 22nd, I got a notification of approval. And so what was that, 4 days after the initial thing came in? I didn't do that verification of identity at 11:10 p.m. on the 18th. I did it on the 19th. So I completed the verification on the 19th. And 3 days later, I got the approval. And I logged in, and there was actually a decline for one of them. And then there was an approval for another. And then there was a third one was in processing. So I called into the SBA and they let me know the decline had something to do. The note they told me was they were unable to confirm the bank account on the one that got declined. Then there was the one that got approved and the one that was still processing. So I completed they had the loan documents for the one that was approved. So I popped in, reviewed the loan documents. It's a lot. I don't know how many pages this is, but these are the actual EIDL loan documents. So I took some time to read through these page by page. I'm the kind of person, if I got this much, I need to print it out and read it. So I printed it out, read it, and it's all via DocuSign. So I DocuSigned the loan documents on Wednesday and woke up Thursday morning and the money was in the account. So within 24 hours of signing the loan documents, the money was in the account, which is pretty awesome. So that's my experience. Again, the long application on March 24th, the Streamline application April 1st. I got the credit inquiries on the 11th and 12th, 27th, 11th, and 12th. Then I got, might as well use these screenshots since I haven't loaded up. So applied on the 24th. There was an initial inquiry on the 27th. Then I applied Streamlined on the 1st and 2nd. There was inquiries on the 11th and 12th. Then I got the notification to create my account. On the 18th, I completed the identity verification stuff that was on there. And then 3 days later, I got the approval on the first one. And then I got the other approval a day later on the second one. And then they told me how to dispute the one that got declined if I wanted to. So that's my experience with the EIDL loan. These EIDL loans, just to make sure that you guys are aware, these can go up to $2 million. I'm sorry. EIDL loans up to $2 million. I know there's something that says up to 15,000, but again, I got approved for more than that. All three of them were more than that number. So I'm not sure where that 15 comes from. The money that comes from this is the way that mine were approved was that there's no payment for 12 months. Then the payments start. It's amortized over 29 years. So it's a 30-year term, no payment for the first 12 months. Start making payments on month 13. And it's at 3.75% interest. So 30-year term, no payments for 12 months. So then you have 29 years of payments. And it's at 3.75% interest. And there's like one fee that's like $100. That's it. And I never uploaded any additional documents. So we only uploaded documents for the one big corporation back on the 24th. We never uploaded any documents for the two smaller ones, and still got approved for, solid numbers. So again, I'm just sharing my experience. Hopefully that can help you guys out. So that was my experience with the EIDL loan. And then the other one is the PPP loan. So this is the other one that's the big one. This is the one that really is going to keep a lot of people employed and keep a lot of businesses open. So the way that this PPP loan works is, or I guess I should note too, the EIDL loan, right? It's now got $60 billion worth of funds. You're going to need to apply for this thing. The portal's not open yet, but you would go to SBA.gov/disaster assistance is how you would get to it. And you'll see on here, it says lapse in appropriations, meaning they don't have any money. This is where the form is to apply for the EIDL loan. So if you want to apply for it, make sure just keep checking the site periodically. This is where you'll apply. And honestly, the application is like a 15-minute application. It's not a long or intensive one or anything like that. So just keep checking. And the only place you can apply for this EIDL loan is on the SBA website. You do not apply for this through any third party at all. If you get an application for the EIDL loan or the EIDL loan, make sure up in the top corner, it says SBA.gov. If it's not SBA.gov website, get off of it immediately. You're getting scammed. I almost got scammed, to be honest with you. I got something that looked really official and I realized it was SBAdisasterfunding.com, which they almost got me, right? They were smart about it. So be smart. Make sure the only way you can get the EIDL loan, the EIDL loan, is on SBA.gov. So just be careful of that, guys. So let's shift gears over to the PPP loan. This is the big one. It's over $300 billion for this. There's been a lot of controversy out there. You guys have heard a lot of big corporations like Ruth's Chris and Shake Shack, and those are the ones that got the most attention out there. They got approved for like $10 million. So the PPP loan is up to $10 million. The way they determine the amount of the loan is they take your average monthly payroll and multiply it by 2.5. So if your average monthly payroll is $100,000, the loan amount for the PPP is up to $250,000. And here's the beauty of this thing is that as long as the money you get from the PPP loan is used for rent, mortgage interest if you own your building, utilities, and payroll, it can all be forgiven. So if you have $100,000 payroll and you get that $250,000, as long as you make sure you use it all on payroll, rent, mortgage interest if you have one, and utilities, you could actually never pay that $250,000 back, which is why everybody really wants this loan. So it's pretty awesome. My experience with it was I have a local bank that I work with. I applied with them. It took them a few days to get their application up and running. So because I wasn't 100% confident they were going to get it done, I went on the SBA's website. They have a lender match tool. I'll show that to you guys. So this is how I find things. Just Google SBA lender match tool. And so you can come on here and it's SBA.gov/lender-match. And you can come on here and tell them where you live and everything, and it'll help match you with a local lender. So that was how I got connected with a local lender. So I went through this lender match tool. And so I worked with a local lender, I worked with my local bank that I bank with regularly. And then I worked with somebody that I got connected with through that lender match tool. And I had both of them working simultaneously. There's a lot of money out there. I wanted to make sure that we didn't miss that opportunity. I know a lot of people applied with their big bank like Chase, Wells Fargo, Bank of America. And I know a lot of them aren't too happy right now. I'm not going to talk crap about those banks, But I'm just going to say that there's a lot of customers that are very, very unhappy with their banks, and a lot of people that do a lot of money through them that got completely screwed. I would strongly recommend this time around, first go to your local community bank, whoever you bank with. If you're with one of these big banks, you can go to this lender match tool that's on the SBA website, or I have a lot of friends who had really, really good luck working with PayPal. Yes, PayPal is actually approved to do these PPP loans. I know people who applied and had their funds within 24 hours with PayPal, which is pretty crazy, considering a lot of people with some of these big banks applied and didn't hear anything until after the money ran out. So if there's anybody, if you work with one of those big banks and you got screwed by them, a lot of people just in the last day or two got denials. So if you did and you're looking for somebody else, I would go on the lender match tool on SBA's website, and then I would apply with PayPal. Most everybody's had really good experiences with PayPal. They already have people, even after the money ran out, they kept accepting applications. They already have people with loan documents signed. So as soon as the money is released, which I anticipate will probably be Monday or Tuesday, they can fund those immediately. So I love their proactivity with things. So apply with your local bank. If it's a big bank, I would hedge your bets and apply with PayPal as well, and or somebody you get matched up with a lender match tool on the SBA website. And this one, they want a lot of documentation. This is not going to be a streamlined thing. They're going to want payroll reports. They're going to want tax returns and things like that. So depending on if you're an S corporation or a sole proprietorship, just be prepared to provide information regarding how much your payroll is. So if you're like, I'm an S corp and I have payroll, they wanted to see the forms. I believe it's the 940 and the 941 payroll forms. If you're a sole proprietor, they're going to want to see your 1040s, and they're going to want to see how much self-employment income you have. If you are a realtor and you need help filling these out, I'm not going to give you advice on how to fill these forms out. If you need advice, we're in California, the California Association of Realtors. They actually have a hotline where they'll help you with this stuff. So I would encourage, reach out to your local association. I'm assuming California is not the only one that has that. So ours is, if you Google California Association of Realtors, Realtor Relief, they have a phone number and a lot of advice on there. So I would encourage you to reach out to your local association. They should be able to help you fill these forms out. But yeah, the PPP, that's my advice for you guys is, if you have a big bank, apply with a small bank and or PayPal. I think you're going to have much better luck. They're really, really on top of their game with things. So that's the PPP loan. And I'm hopeful. I just want you guys to be ready with this stuff. Like, have things together. Some of the banks with PPP, like PayPal, they're accepting applications now, where a lot of the other banks are like, nope, there's no funding. Don't even waste our time. So I like that PayPal's been ahead of the game in accepting applications, so they can have people queued up, because as soon as that funds are released, boom, they're just going to start funding them like crazy. So that's my advice to you guys. I'll just recap it again real quick. The EIDL or EIDL loan, you're applying for that on SBA.gov. Just keep checking that portal. SBA.gov/disaster-funding or disaster-assistance, or just Google SBA EIDL loan. You'll pull it up. Right now, there's no application, but I believe that application will be back up. Could be this weekend, could be Monday, could be Tuesday. I don't know, but I would just keep checking that site a couple times a day, and just be ready. Fill that bad boy out as fast as humanly possible. Make sure your numbers are right when it asks for them. Double check everything. You don't want to screw it up and get put to the back of the line. And then the PPP loan, PayPal is great. Small local community bank is great. If you don't have any of those, like, go to the SBA website, just go to their lender match tool. They'll get you connected with somebody. Make sure you have your most recent tax returns ready, have your payroll reports ready for 2019, first quarter of 2020, have all of that stuff ready. Because as soon as this goes, I believe the funds are going to go extremely quick. I think the first time around, they lasted less than 2 weeks. And I wouldn't be surprised if they last less than a week this time, maybe 2 or 3 days. Because what's going to happen is everybody filled out their applications the first time, didn't get their money. Their applications are already in the system, so they're already partway through the process. So I think the money's going to go even faster the second time around, and no guarantees there's going to be a third time around. So that is the advice that I have for you guys. I hope that is helpful. I really want everybody to go out there and get this money, assuming you're affected. If you're not affected and you're rolling dough and making millions of dollars, save the money for other people and do what's right, like Shake Shack did. But I know us in real estate, our sales are down 50% right now. So we definitely need the help. And we got a lot of amazing people that work for us that we really want to keep employed. And so very grateful that the government's doing a lot of this stuff and helping us out. It's going to allow us to keep our staff employed. So there's that. And then just one last note too, if you did get a PPP loan or the EIDL loan, there's requirements on how you use this money. So I strongly recommend that you open up separate accounts for each of these things. So we have a PPP account open and an EIDL account open, and we're making sure that the only thing that we use those accounts for are the things that are approved. So PPP, rent, utilities, and payroll. And then the EIDL loan, there's requirements on what you use that for. You'll look at your loan documents when you get them, but we're using that money to cover all of our regular reoccurring expenses in our business. So just be smart, have separate accounts. You do need to be able to prove you use the money for the right things, especially the PPP, to have it forgiven. That's what I got for you guys. I hope this is very, very helpful. I hope I can save at least one business out there. If you have additional questions on this, feel free to reach out to me. I just want to help. I have no ask of anything at all. I just want to do my part and help. I've been fortunate enough to have both of these approved, and I'm hopeful that I can help some of you guys get it approved as well. Thanks for watching. Cheers. Have a good weekend.